Okay, so good morning. For who doesn't know me, my name is Yasmin. I'm 20 years old. I live in São Paulo and I am an English teacher, but I'm here just to guide this conversation and help you practicing your English. And I want to know if it's someone here for the first time. No. Okay, so just to explain how TNT works, it's a platform where you can practice your English, Spanish, French, and other languages. So here is a safe space to practice. And today we will talk about poverty. I will not share with you a video because it's a difficult topic to talk. It's a hard topic and I don't want to bring like some bad memories for anyone. So could you see the questions on the chat? Yeah. Okay, so let me split us in small rooms. I think 2, it's okay. Okay, so if you receive an invitation, please accept and we can start our conversation. And choose a leader in your room, please. Okay, so we can start now. Epaminondas, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Nondas. I'm from Brasilia. I am 27 years old. I am a little tired today, but I'm here to learn. And I work as a personal training. And yeah, that's all. How about you, Bruna?
Hello guys, good morning. My name is Bruna, I live in São Paulo. I also work as an English teacher. I live with my parents and my brother, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I've been attending the meetings since the beginning of September, and I think that's it. What about you, Luis?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me well? All right. My name is Luis Carlos. I'm 36 years old. I have been studying English for 2 years by myself at home, just use internet. And I couldn't see the questions, all the questions that appear here in my screen, but I saw just the first ones. I was having some problem here with the app and or was my cell phone, I'm not sure. And someone could, I'm seeing now the questions, sorry. And why poverty still exists? Yes, it's because I believe that our capitalist system, it's unfair, all right? And a lot of people have a lot of money, are millionaire, while some people even don't have the more basic things for provide food and health and education. And while we live in the so unfair system, would be almost impossible we achieve one situation where poverty doesn't exist. All right. Could you put the other questions here, please?
Yeah, so I will put. And Eduardo, could you introduce yourself and answer the first question? Why does poverty still exist?
Sorry if I am not understanding very well. I'm a little lost here, all right?
It's okay, Luis. You're doing great.
Right.
Hi, morning. So could you hear me properly?
We are hearing you, but not so loud.
All right. I will try talk loud. So
Okay.
my name is Eduardo. I am Eduardo. I'm from Curitiba, and I know Bruna. I know Bruna. we had in another meeting. So regarding the question, I believe the poverty is a side effect of capitalism, and so I do believe in it, and unfortunately, it's not very nice. But so I think it's a side effect.
Thank you, Eduardo. And I really believe in this. I really agree with you. And I think that we live in this kind of situation because of capitalism. Like we need to have money to buy basic things as water. So what do you think, Bruna? Why does poverty exist?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think this is the system where we live in, right? And I think it just reinforces all this poverty we can see around the world. And as Luis said, many people with a lot of money, like many like billionaires, and a lot of people who don't have access to the basics. And I think this is really sad. And I've read that during the pandemic, like many people became richer. So it's crazy how this system works, you know, and how like many people, like few people are getting richer and richer, and like we have this other group every day getting border and border, you know. So it's really sad. No, that's what do you think?
So I agree. I agree with you guys because I can resume in this interest in some people, and the people powerful, and because our capitalist system, and it's very sad. It's very sad, as Bruno said and I said before, and it's 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 very sad.
So what causes poverty? Oh, it's a hard question, but like sometimes I think that it's because we have a inequality system of distribution. Like some people have many food and some people doesn't have water to drink and things like this. So what do you think, Eduardo?
As Bruna said, I would like to use the example of the pandemic to illustrate my opinion, because I think it's a great example. For example, I am more for poverty today than I was in the beginning of the pandemic, because so what what I earn in my company, I can't pay the same thing 2 years before. And so for this, I think the capitalism system is very unfair. So I saw today early, one news that says that in the United States, there are a lot of people asking to be fired, because so I think it's a little bit similar with here in Brazil. So because for the company for the pandemic, companies pay less, the conditions of work is worse, and so I think the the pandemic can illustrate how capitalism can be said with people.
Yeah, so choose someone to answer. Eduardo, could you choose someone to answer?
Sure. So let's see. Luna, please.
Okay, this is a hard question, but I think I agree with you guys. I think all this capitalism and this system reinforces poverty and reinforces that this small group of people will have access to more money, and also to, since we have more money, money can lead us to education, to a good quality of life. So I think this can influence the access to better things, you know. Since you don't have a good education and all this system is wrong and is not following the right way, like poor people don't have access to good education, neither to a good hospitals, good schools. I think all of these reinforces this poverty, and it is bad for these people, you know, and they can't have access to better things, and they cannot like develop, you know, in their life. Since they don't have education, they can't find like good jobs, and they can find, and they can improve their lives, you know. And it's really hard, it's deep, you know. I think that's it. What do you think about it, Luis? Your mic is off.
Sorry. I think that's a complex question, once that there aren't any perfect system, all right? Throughout the history, all societies experience different system, economic system, and all of them had problems. And we will never have a perfect system where doesn't exist any poverty, any people suffer from disease, for hungry, for all these problems. And of course that we have problems in the capitalist systems, but I believe that all the systems that we experienced until now, it was the best, all right? And the problem is not, in my opinion, it's not the inequality, because the inequality will always exist. Once that we have freedom, we will always be different and unequal. And the problem is the misery. We cannot admit that in 2022 we still have misery. The problem is the misery, is not the inequality. All right, to my point of view. Then it's something complex. It's easy we come here and point to the problems, and but the solution is not easy. We are 7 billion people in this planet, and if we look at the numbers, we never lived a life like we as a human being in general we are living now, with all the resources that we have. Never in the history so few people are suffer from hungry or this kind of thing, because if you look at in the past, as 100 years ago, we suffer from the First World War, the second, the great pandemics, and was really worse than we live now, right now, right? I don't know if it's polemical what I said, but I believe in it, right?
It's my turn.
Yeah.
So it's a deep question. I agree with you all. I think it's very difficult to answer this question, all these questions actually. But in my point of view, this interests in some people on a limited group of people And maybe because unequal income distribution, I don't know, but it's very hard. And when I think about cause, in my mind pop up war and exploration, and some people making a lot of money with this. And it's very hard to answer. It's very hard to have a solution. And it's a deep question, but in my opinion, it's because I don't know how can I say that, but individual interests, maybe.
Yeah. So the next is, why are people hungry? And all the questions are related. I really believe that it's because of the distribution of food. And we all know that like the quality of food changes a lot. Like if you go to a Witcher supermarket, you see that the quality of products are like very high, and in a poor supermarket is not that. This doesn't happen, and some people doesn't have jobs, so they don't have enough money to buy foods, and it's a very difficult situation. But I want to know from Epaminondas, what do you think?
I think it's very connected with all things we said before, and a different opportunities, and the way we I don't know how can I say, but we distribution of our food and our land and what we are planting and growing, and like a meat. I don't know how can I explain that, but I I need I think, in my opinion, we need to have different uh, meals, different foods, and different opportunities for all people in the world. And sometimes we think about money in the first place, and it's not good because some people don't have any food, and on the other hand, some people has a lot of food, and it's very hard to answer, but unequal distribution of money and our of food, in my opinion.
What about you, Eduardo? Eduardo, could you hear us? I think no. So, Bruna, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I think I agree with Nondas. The distribution of land and also these inequality, like the I'm sorry. I think we are worried about our individual problems, and although we say we really like, this is a problem I've been talking to my friends, like not only hunger but also poverty. Of course, we are worried about that, and we discuss these problems like with our friends or here on TNT. Sometimes the problem is like bigger than us, and I think all this political system, I know Luis said about capitalism or like socialism. I think the policies we have in our country or in many countries, all these policies can reinforce it and increase the hunger, you know. So maybe the question is why, let me just check. Why are people hungry? Maybe because of these policies, and also as Nonda said, I agree 100% with him, the distribution of land, of money, and of food too. That's my answer.
And what about you, Luis?
I believe that the main reason why we have so many poverty in our country, it's because it's all connected with our historical process. We were colonized for 3 centuries, and we have the slavery. And when the slavery was ended, all the Black people went to live without any opportunities, anything in the future that they could look and try to plan one future. And it was recent in our history. It was just a little more than 100 years ago. I have a grandmother who is 94 years old, and probably his mother was a slave. Then we don't think so much about that sometimes, but it was really recent in our history. All right, and we still suffer the effect of the colonization, and the last governments didn't have any plan for a national improvement of our society. It's just we accept the multinationals come here and hire the people with a low wage. All right, and we don't have any plan to develop our industry, and people here study, had a degree in the public school. We pay for all this with the public money, but when they had a degree, they go outside to work in the United States or Europe, and we don't have a big industry here. How, for example, China had a plan. They thought if you want to buy a cell phone, all right, you will not pay for the Apple. We will have our own cell phone here, and all the Chinese start to buy the cell phone, and now all the world have Redmi, all right? And the same with cars. Now they are almost in the equal economically with the United States because they have a plan, all right? We don't have this plan as a project for our country. We don't have, sadly. That is it.
So we all know that because of the pandemic, the poverty increases a lot. So do you think that you can do something to change this? Who can help to solve this kind of problem? Like, to me, I think we can do the basic things. Like, we can start with our neighbors, because sometimes our neighbor is going through a difficult moment, a difficult situation, and we can help with basic things. So I think it's just to start taking care of our neighborhood. It's a good start. So Eduardo, could you?
What's the question that I am answering?
Is what we can do to change the situation that we are living now.
Yes. I think it's very important. Just nothing. Give money, for example. I think it's more important to really help people. Because, for example, if you give just one pot of food, so you just help in a short time. So I think we need to be more. How can I say? So we need to be a society. So one help others with jobs, with a job, no? With a lot of opportunities to study. I think this is more sustainable, no? And don't solve just the problem in just this moment. You know, some people have the good have good feeling to help it, but with a short gesture. I think we need to be more. We need to think about more about the problem to solve this for a long period of time.
What about you, Epaminondas?
Complex question. I think we could to do both, and opportunities, it's very important and thinking a long time, but money, it's very important in a short time. Some people don't have any to food and to eat, and it's very hard to thinking about. You said, Yasmin, we can start with our neighbor, but in my opinion, we need to start with ourselves. And it's hard to explain because I don't have vocabulary enough to answer. It's a very deep question, but in my opinion, we don't think as a society. The human being did not understand that we are all connected, and it doesn't matter if you are here or in the other side of the world. All things will, all people will are connected, and my problem is not my problem only, but it's problem of the world. And it's very hard to answer because this question is very big and I don't have words enough. But in my opinion, we need to think as a society. Is not only my country or my neighborhood or my district, but as world, and all people need to food, need to eat, need to care our health, your health. And it's very important to think like a society, and not my problem only. And yeah, that's my point. Bruna, did you answer?
Not yet. Gosh, this question is really hard. But I agree with you, Nondas, when you said that we need to think not only about our country, but the world, you know. And I think things that happen, for example, in Europe or in Africa, they can influence us, right? So coronavirus started in China, then it affected the whole world, you know. And we are talking about a virus, but it can happen when we are talking about like many things, mainly economical and, well, health issues. So I don't know, as Ya said, maybe supporting our neighborhood can be something important, a way of starting doing something. Maybe voting and like really being worried about the plan that the government, the governor or mayor, or, well, the person you are voting for really understand the things this person like believes and is really going to work for. This can be also something. Well, I don't know, it's hard. I think that's it. I don't know if I have that much knowledge to answer this one, but that's it. Luis, what do you think? I like your answers.
All right. I believe that a long term, the main solution is education. All right, is education. Once that I come from a very poor family. All right, it was me and more 3 children, and if I live a little bit better now, it's because of the education. And I have a daughter who is 15 years old, and for my luck, she is very dedicated. And I say to her that she can be whatever she wants to be, and if her life would be better in the future, would be because of the education. All right, and with education, we were able to choose better our representatives, and we can build a better future if you are a society more educated. In a short term, in the present, we cannot carry the world in our back. We cannot give the solution for everything as an individual, but we can do our best in our place. All right, if you are a teacher, try to give the best class that you can do. If you are a nurse, try to take care of the people the better way that you can do. I work here I am from Ceará. I work here as a policeman, and I try to do my best in my job. Attended all the cases that I take for give the solution, and the unique thing that I can do as a short term in the present is do my best as a policeman in my job. And I think that if everyone do the same, we would have a better place to live. That is it.
Thank you, Luis. So I'm thinking now, and I just bring polemic questions, but okay. So the next is, does poverty cause crime? So I will start, and I really believe in this. I'm not saying that it's okay and it's right, but we know that this happens, and people steal because they are hungry sometimes. They steal because they don't have money to buy basic things. And we can see in the news that some people are going to prison like because they steal a bread, you know. So what about you, Epaminondas?
Of course, in my opinion, of course, because I work as a teacher in a public school, and normally poverty is the main cause of several problems. And for example, if I had I don't know in English, but bagunceiro, aluno bagunceiro, when we are looking for a family and the mother needs to work, and the father went this house, and it's very hard to handle with the situation, and the students don't have any people together in, and maybe this person find some people wrong, and it's hard too. And I also see people that stealing for status. It's very common, unfortunately. And the people, as you said, stole or crimes because don't have money enough to eat or something like, and the basic cares. It's hard too. And in another point, some people make crimes. I don't know, but because the example and because our laws, and it's deep question, but in my opinion, income distribution is the most important topic about crimes in our country, and especially in the poor districts. And how about you, Eduardo?
So this is a really interesting question, because it's very complex. The answer, So what I think is poverty is one part of the thing that explain the crime. Of course, I think poverty causes crime, but for example, so I live in the United States, and I saw there homeless people, and I saw there some crime happening there, and so they are more richer. They are richer than we, and so this problem happens even there. So for this, I think yes, I believe poverty causes crime, but it's not just it. So we can see it in the Lava Jato operation, for example, rich people doing crime or making crime, And so for this, I believe it's not the only thing that causes crime. For poverty is not the only thing that causes crime.
What about you, Luis?
All right, I guess that is not a determination, right? If you were born poor, you can, how I was, all right, and I am still a poor guy, but I'm living a little better than I was in the past. But you can look to do the right things, try to do the right things. But I believe that, of course, that can influence, because if you live in a really poor neighborhood, you are more susceptible to be taken by the crime, to how can I say, to sell drugs and little quantities of drugs. This is why I believe that we should change the law for people that are taken just with a little quantity, just little, very little, could not be arrested. All right. Even though I being a policeman, I believe that would be better. All right. And but people that are taken with a great quantity should still be arrested, I believe. I don't agree with the discriminalization of the drugs. And it's very difficult. You see someone in a very rich neighborhood being arrested for sell little quantities of drugs. This is the thing that you can look and see how your social condition influence. All right, you will not see a child from the rich neighborhood being arrested because they stole a wallet for someone, or they stole something for someone, or sell a little quantity of drugs. It just happened in a poor neighborhood where sometimes it's a son that doesn't have a father, or sometimes even doesn't have a mother, live with just his grandmother, has a lot of other siblings. And it's not a determination, how I said, but I think that it's influence. All right, this is why a changing in a condition, a social condition, will also bring benefits in these fields of criminality. All right, because misery brings other kinds of misery. Economic misery brings social misery and spiritual misery, and all kinds of misery come together with economical misery. That is it.
Thank you, Luis. And now, do you believe that rich are growing richer and poor are growing poorer? So I really believe in this. I know that we have like some exceptions, but these exceptions really fight to have these opportunities. So like I think my family is one exception. I don't live like a luxury life, but I live a comfortable life, and I could see this. What about you, Bruna?
Yeah, I think the richer are getting richer, and some poor are trying and are working harder and hard, trying to live a better life. And as Luis said, we're trying to have better opportunities and to study, trying to find and to get where we want. But yes, I think the richer are getting richer. And according to the numbers and to researchers, during this pandemic, as I said, like many people that were already rich became richer, and we had an increase in the amount of poor people. So I would say yes, and I haven't answered the other one, so I will answer it now. I don't think poverty causes crime. Just like we said, it can influence many many people see this as an only solution, trying to live a better life and try to feed their family or to support them somehow. But I think it's just like the way like many rich people are doing crimes, committing things, but they are not taken, they are not, I forgot the word, judged maybe, no, arrested. Arrested, that's the word. That's my opinion about these two questions. Now I'm going to choose Luis. What do you think, Luis, about the next question?
I believe that the main problem is that look like people are getting poor more. It's not that I don't think that people become richer. It's a problem. I would like to become richer one day, but the main problem is what the inequality is so great that cause poverty. All right, the main problem is that some politicians have the proposals to increase the taxes. Taxes? What's the word for just a minute? Taxes, yes. Increase the taxes of the billionaires, and I agree with that. I agree with that. And it would be one of the solutions. But how I said before, and I don't believe that we will one day live in the system that are everyone totally equal. And I think that would not be a great system. I don't think that it's possible. We conciliate freedom with this situation. The unique system where everyone will be totally equal, it's an authority. Oh my God, I forgot the name right now.
Authoritative. It's okay.
Yes. Could you repeat, please?
Authoritative.
Authoritative system would be unique way for try to put everyone in the equality. All right, and probably living a worse life that we live right now. Right? We saw that throughout the 20th century happen, and this is why I am very careful to think in the possibility of destroy the capitalist system. This kind of speech, I don't agree. All right, because I think even though we have a lot of problems, it's the best system that we lived until now. Problems, we always had problems, but the solution is try to modify the system for become for try to overcome these problems and not exist anymore misery. All right, will always exist people that have more than others, and I believe that it is natural that be this way, because people are different. And once that people are different, for example, let's think about one doctor that like to be a doctor, but there's another one that is very curious and like to study and go deep in things and research and find a cure for some rare disease. This guy have to earn more, all right? Or a teacher that just finish the degree and give a class and don't give all the energy that would be possible. And there's another one that learn English, learn French, learn Greek, Latin, and like to study history and go deep and study techniques to teach a better. This guy have to earn more, all right? This is why I don't believe in a total equal system. But I just don't agree with the existence of the misery, all right? And that is it.
What about you, Eduardo?
I think it's not, it's no problem. No problem. A lot of people is very rich. However, I think the problem is when we have the Brazilian reality, you know. So one part of the people are very rich, and another part is very poor. And so I think when we have one part of most of the society is rich, and it brings more jobs, more life being like. So well, I think. So the life is more easy for people with opportunity. I think it's more important. For this, I totally agree with Luis, because about there isn't quality in all the systems, representative systems. And but I think the main problem is the miserable people, homeless. I think this is the problem, not the rich people.
And what about you, Epaminondas?
That's a fact. And when I think about rich people, I'm thinking about billionaire people and maybe millionaire people, and not about the middle. And it's a fact. It's a fact, and I agree with the guys. And but I think it's not about equality. It's impossible, I agree, but about equity. And it's a little different, and it's very important too. I know makes sense to have miserable people and people with people angry and don't have any to eat, or don't have any opportunities, and it's very hard to think. And for me, and that's a fact.
Okay, thank you. So, Atamis, how was the conversation? And I want to know, does poverty cause crime? I love your answer, so I want to hear you.
No, the conversation was really, really good. It is hard because when we have some, we look the poverty as things like too far from us, as we see the richness, the wealth, but we think we can be billionaires if you work a lot. That's a fairy tale, you know. That's not true. I don't think poverty causes crimes. I think being poor is a crime. Being poor is a crime because, as I said in the other room, if you are rich and you commit the same contravention or crime, it's not a crime, it's just a little thing. But if you exploit a billions of people, a million of people, that's not a crime. But if you go to the supermarket and steal a bread to feed your family, you go to the jail. So being poor, if you are poor and Black in Brazil, you are screwed up. So being poor is a crime, not poverty doesn't cause crimes.
Thank you, Atamis. And now I want to know from Claudio. Claudio, if you could change something in the world, what would you change?
Well, I think you need use more energy, solar energy, because we are use so many things. We will in the end have the end of the earth. Like use a lot of fuel and cause gas in the earth. And I think in some years we don't have water, we don't have air. I don't know, is this?
Okay, thank you. What about you, Mariana?
The same question.
Yeah.
I would like to change the system because I think it don't work, and I don't agree with the capitalism system and all that, all the problems with that, like the poverty and other things too. So that's my answer.
Thank you. And what about you, Taina? Do you think that we could do something to change our reality, what we are living nowadays?
Yes, I would run off the money because I think money causes injustice, debt, and inequality. Maybe we can pay with your service. And I think this way works better than getting more money.
Okay, thank you. And I will share with you a link on the chat. So we will have a live on Thursday. And so please subscribe in this link to have access of more information about this live. So if you have like a intermediate level, this will help you a lot. So please make part of this. And I want to thank you all for the participation. I hope you really like this conversation and see you in the next week.